Hello, we are going to continue our discussion of the former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. And we're going to continue to feature now her life after FDR, after Franklin Delano Roosevelt had died in 1945. Now, in 1946, I should also mention, she was a member of the board of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP. She was on the board. She also was on the board of CORE, Congress of Racial Equality, started by James Farmer and Bayard Rustin back in 1952. CORE was started. She was also on that board. And there are pictures of her even as a board member, the activities that were going on with the NAACP. She had her presence. She was always smiling, always bringing positivity to the many things that she was involved in, and always looking for human rights and civil rights that was a part of what her life was about. Let me leave you with a couple of quotes also from her. She was very much a fan of the civil rights movement. She thought that it was excellent that blacks were trying to get their fair share of rights and things, as she was at women's rights as well. And she wrote the foreword in this book, The Long Shadow of Little Rock. Now, Daisy Bates was the head of the Arkansas NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and she led and counseled the Little Rock Nine. By the way, they jointly won a Spingarn Medal, did the Little Rock Nine. But in this book that Daisy Bates wrote, Eleanor Roosevelt wrote the foreword. This book came out in 1962, and that would be the year that Eleanor Roosevelt would die afterward. But what she wrote, just a little of the foreword, I'll just read a couple of paragraphs that Eleanor wrote in the foreword to this book. She said, "The record of burning crosses, bombings, shootings, etc. is a record of the beast on the march. No one in authority in this city of Little Rock tried to control and draw out the best in people instead of the worst. This is the sad thing about it. Not even the few courageous ministers could kindle even a spark of courage which would have turned the tide. We do not yet seem to have learned the lesson that when there's prejudice and oppression in one area, it invariably spreads in many other areas. It may not happen today or tomorrow, but surely at some point it will erupt and there will be a new reason for the beast to march. This is seen in history." At her conclusion, she said, "I've paid her homage," she was talking about to Daisy Bates, "in my thoughts many times, and I want to tell her again how remarkable I think she was through these horrible years." Now, on multiple occasions, Daisy Bates and her husband's home was bombed in Little Rock, Arkansas. "I only hope that before too long, the people of my race and my country will wake up to the fact that they are endangering the peace of the world. The world is made up of people of many races and many colors. They must be accepted as people and treated with the same dignity and respect wherever they are." She said, "Until we do this with our own citizens at home, we will be suspect to the world. Our leadership will have little value, and we will endanger the peace of the world because we have the responsibility to give an example of how nations can live together in peace and unity." She then said, "This book should shock the conscience of America and bring a realization of where we stand in the year 1962 in these United States." Eleanor Roosevelt. And she wrote that in 1962, talking about, of course, the Little Rock Nine and the integration of Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas. Also, just a couple of other thoughts that she wrote I will share with you. On December 9th, remember December 10th, Human Rights Day. This was in 1948 when she was still trying to get it passed. And she said on December 9th, "We stand today at the threshold of a great event, both in the life of the United Nations and in the life of mankind. This declaration might well become the international Magna Carta. You know, that was something that was written in the 1200s where people had rights, not just rulers, that will raise human beings around the world to a higher standard of life and to a greater enjoyment of freedom. She also wrote about the bus boycott in 1957. It happened, of course, 1955 with Dr. King and Rosa Parks and all of that. She said, "There must be great pride, not only among the Negroes, but among the white people all over the country in the remarkable restraint and courage shown by the Negroes in their struggle for their rights in Montgomery, Alabama, and other places in the South. King's insistence that there be no hatred in the struggle is almost more than human beings can achieve." When King was arrested in Atlanta, the people of the world will have contempt, not for Georgia, unfortunately, the United States, for treating as a criminal a man who is looked upon with so much respect. Dr. King also had great admiration for Eleanor Roosevelt. He said this about her. He said, "She was perhaps the greatest woman of our time." I want to just mention also that in 1999, there was a Gallup poll of the most admired people of the 20th century. Eleanor Roosevelt was number 9 on that list. Her husband Franklin was number 6. Mother Teresa, yes, was number 1, and Dr. Martin Luther King was number 2. But she left an impact on the country and the world, on human rights for everyone. She was controlled by no one. She wanted to develop her own abilities and speak her mind and let it influence the civilization that was around her. Thank you very much for helping me to celebrate and discuss the life of one of the great First Ladies who transformed the role of what a First Lady could and should be. Thank you very much. Have a good day.